Welcome, Spark. So what kind of Spark are you? Player? Creator? Or both? The stories yet to be told. The games to be made. Civilizations and societies to be formed. The universe is waiting for you to bring it to life. Now, how do we begin?
Hello!
Hey guys,
Welcome!
welcome to a Thursday stream.
Another special Thursday stream.
Another special Thursday.
3 in a row!
That is 3 in a row.
Every Thursday is a special day here at Team Dakota.
We're saving them for like special occasions now, and we just have special occasions happening every week. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we do. So, what's this week's special occasion?
The developers GameJam, of course.
Yeah. So this, this stream is going to be talking you through everything you need to know about the developers GameJam. Sort of the rules behind it, what we're expecting to see from it, why we have a Game Jam. We're going to play through some games that might be examples of things that would kind of fit well into categories. And if we have time, we might even jump in and show some kind of core mechanics of each of them.
Yep. And this is going to be very directed by you guys and questions that you guys ask in chat.
Yeah.
So get asking those questions.
Yeah. This is where we answer kind of all the questions you have about Developers Game Jam. But before we actually get to your questions, let's actually tell you what the Developers Game Jam is.
That's
for
a good
people
point, yeah.
who haven't heard about this yet. So the Developers Game Jam, it was launched just yesterday, November 4th. We are looking for entries by December 22nd. So you must submit a submission between now and December 22nd into one of two categories. We have the first category, which is Arcade Inventions. And Arcade Inventions is, think about any arcade-style game. It needs to have some sort of score-based system, usually using points. It needs to have leaderboard integration, and it needs to have some way for someone to reset their game as well. Mm-hmm. So it needs to have
like
kind of those three
quick
things.
Replay loop, so you can jump right back in. So
exactly.
That means not going to restart underneath in the menu and hitting restart that way.
Exactly. Yeah, it needs to be built in there, and that's going to be important for that. The second category is called Epic Creations, and what we're looking for is a nice story-driven game. Can be in any genre, whether it's RPG, action-adventure, first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That
We got it at the same time. And we're looking for something that is about 20 minutes or more of gameplay. Now, we're not going to be hard noses on that. You know, if you know it's 15 minutes of gameplay, maybe that's not going to disqualify you. We're just looking for something that has a medium amount of gameplay, and we feel like setting it at saying put in about 20 minutes or more of gameplay is kind of a good indication of what we're expecting to see, kind of the scope of the games we get in Epic Creations. So that's what we're looking for. In order to compete, you can join a team up with people with up to 8 people total. So that's a
big team.
Yeah, really nice big team. And
I think if there is a team of 8 that forms, there's a good chance they're gonna win, because that's a ton of people. Although, granted, it starts to get to the point where there's too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's getting worse because there's more people. They're like, no, Timmy, I told you not to mess with that terrain.
Longer than 20 minutes of gameplay is not considered to be a minus for Epic Creations. It's I mean, I see it as a plus.
I mean, pretty much longer the better, as long as everything that you add is like good quality, right?
Right.
So like, don't make it longer, but it's like tedious and not fun to play through.
Yeah, yep. If you make it 2 hours, but you really stretch out those 2 hours where it's just not fun to get through 2 hours, you're probably going to be rated low. But it's more about the experience you have kind of during that time, during those 20 minutes or more of gameplay. In order to enter, you're going to need to include DGJ at the beginning of the title. So, for instance, if you were someone submitting a game called maybe Heli Assault 2, it would have to say DGJ Heli Assault 2 in order to be part of considered a entry to this. If you don't include DGJ, we're not going to count it as an entry.
Not an entry. Yep.
In order to enter for the Arcade Inventions category, just include, let's go here. So you see how entries have
oh, that's right. They
tags?
can see our screen.
Yeah.
We're just talking, yeah. So there's tags right here.
Yeah, so make sure to include the arcade tag as one of those tags on the entry if you're submitting for arcade. If you're submitting for Epic Creations, make sure to include the Epic tag right there.
Yep. Right here. 2 slots, perfect. And then if you do both of those tags, we're going to pick the one that we think it fits in the best.
Well, no, if you choose both those tags, we're just going to pick the tag that appears first.
Oh, okay.
And if you have no tag, we're going to make a judgment call about what it is.
That's where we do a judgment
Yeah,
call.
so if you forget to include a tag, basically what that means is we're not disqualifying you, but include a tag so we know what kind of category you fall into.
I imagine some people are going to be like, well, my arcade game's super epic. I want to...
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, my Epic creation there's an arcade machine in it that you play.
Do you want to... What do you think is like a good example of an arcade game, style game that someone's made in Project Spark?
We brought it up on Sparkcast last night. So I think a really good example of like an arcade game is like iBrawl.
Oh, yeah.
So this is by Charge My Laser. And here we go. So it's very score based, and also leaderboards. I went through this so fast that I haven't loaded up. There we go. But it is very much an arcade game. You know, it's these waves of enemies come at you. You have these towers you need to defend, and you have to choose between power ups or points, basically, and what to choose to get forward. So he has this, really nice screen here telling you how to play. So these are all good things that you would probably want to include in your own creation. A little bit of a cinematic opening with the towers. Now, I can't remember if he has a restart built in or not. Okay. Oh yeah. Here we go.
I think he does.
Yeah.
All right. So why are you guys competing in this game jam? What makes it interesting for you to compete? A game jam has to have cool prizes.
Not good.
So for this developers game jam, we focus on prizes that aspiring game developers would be really interested in. We've seen people in Project Spark just make such amazing creations that we feel like you guys could really make it in the industry, or make cool contributions to the industry. So what we're doing with this developers game jam is really pushing the idea of developers making cool games within Project Spark. So we're doing some cool things that haven't really been done on the platform before. The first of those, the biggest thing for the 2 winners, there's going to be 1 winner in each category, but the biggest thing is we're going to work with the winner of each category, and we're going to put actual Xbox achievements in your creation. We're going to work with you to choose the name of the achievements, where the achievements appear when people play your creation, and actually work on the artwork as well. So, for instance, you could even have an achievement that's named after you.
Zitarg.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. So that's kind of prize number 1. We're actually going to work with you on getting these Xbox One achievements into your game. So you're actually going to, think about this. You could work with us on getting achievement art of your actual creation that people could kind of use as their background. They're like screen backgrounds for Xbox, and
they'll show up in people's activities feeds when they unlock them, and
you're
super cool. You're
gonna have thousands and thousands of people kind of unlocking whatever these achievements are, playing your game to get them, and it's I believe it may be the first time that it's been done on the Xbox platform, where we're giving achievements through community created content. So Team Dakota will have to upload it, the final work with the achievements ourselves due to Xbox policy, but we're going to include in all of our kind of communications around this who the creator is. You can,
and then definitely like in your creation, I would say make sure you have like a nice title screen and like with your name too.
Yeah,
like, that will definitely, that's like the biggest thing that would make sure you get people recognize that you are the creator. So that's a cool thing to include. And if a splash screen doesn't make it into the final winner game or whatever, we'd probably go through and ask if they want to add it anyway. But
so that's one of the big prizes. We are looking to have that game with the achievements. It'll be between 150 and 250 gamer score put in there, depending on just the nature of your game. We're going to kind of work with you to get achievements in there, because we don't want to just get all 150 or 250 by unlocking and playing. We're going to have to follow Xbox policy about how we give out achievements, but we want to work with you on getting some really cool lasting achievements in there. And it'll be published Sometime between probably January and February of 2016.
Yeah, I think the achievements should be a pretty quick turnaround once we know the winner, but just depends on the art and different things like that.
And so those winning entries, those two kind of winning entries, they will be uploaded then within Project Spark. They're going to basically be in our main banner section, so that they're going to be kind of the main driver that when you launch Project Spark, you're going to see these. So it'll be kind of in everyone's faces too. So that's kind of one of the prizes. Next one is, this is more for people who really are kind of interested in just learning more about the gaming industry or how you might become involved in the game industry. We're going to give you 7 different 1-hour mentor sessions with prominent game designers at Microsoft. These could be producers, designers, artists, developers. We're going to work with you on seeing kind of what you're most interested in learning about, and then pairing you up with some mentors that can kind of talk with you and your team about sort of just things in the game industry, and if you're interested in becoming a member of the game industry, say, kind of give you recommendations about that. But you can. It's so interesting hearing from game developers about sort of what it takes to make a game, and honestly, just hearing all these words of wisdom are great for continuing to make and making more high quality stuff in Project Spark. So that'll be one of the prizes. You're also going to get a behind the scenes virtual tour. I should mention those will be done probably through Skype, unless there's another form of contact with these mentor sessions that is easiest for you. You're also going to get a behind-the-scenes virtual tour of Project Spark, either through Skype or some private streaming, where you're going to see actually all the steps for how we make content, and you may even have a hand in sort of some stuff we're making, like seeing some of that and in giving feedback right then and there. You're going to have to sign a non-disclosure agreement with us in order to see this. So if you don't sign a non-disclosure agreement basically means you can't repeat what you see to the public. It's kind of a pinky promise with you, with lawyers involved.
Yeah, it's a very serious pinky promise that you're legally liable for.
You're also going to have a call with members of Microsoft's ID at Xbox team. ID at Xbox is our premier kind of indie developer program. You're going to hear from them about if you're interested, sort of how to get involved in the indie developer program here at Microsoft. Then on top of that, you're going to get 2 Rare Replay digital download codes for Xbox One and 1 Gears of War Ultimate Edition digital download code for Xbox One. So that's all for first place.
That's a ton of stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of quality stuff. Rather,
it is too.
It's stuff that's it's priceless stuff. It's stuff you can't put a price on because they're cool opportunities that anyone who's just more interested in the gaming industry or becoming a part of the gaming industry. These are all things that are just things that are so valuable to someone who wants to see what it's like to be in the industry. And even if you have an awesome steady job that you love, it's still so cool to hear about an industry that you love playing.
Exactly that. And kind of a peek behind the scenes with the tour and from hearing from all the different devs and stuff. I want to highlight this real quick. So I just finished up iBrawler. You guys saw how bad I did. I think maybe I did okay. But so there is a replay option here. So if I select that, it'll not take me out to the loading screen. It'll immediately keep me in the game itself. So that's kind of what we're looking for when we say we want to restart. Because very quick, I can just go right back and play again.
Yeah. And speaking of other things we're looking for, we are going to be looking for community judges. If anyone doesn't want to submit an entry to this game jam, but wants to
have the time, and just they're really busy in the next 7 weeks, but they'd love to still participate in some form or fashion. Being a community judge is really fun. I've done that for a couple, as Team Dakota and just as a community member, I've done judging, and it's really fun, and you get to really appreciate, kind of the full breadth of all the entries that came in, and of course as a judge, you're playing through them pretty decently and full through, so you really get to see all the nuances to them and all the creations. So it's a very cool opportunity. So let us know if you want to be a judge. We're looking for them.
Yeah, we want to open it up so that we get additional people kind of ranking these entries alongside us. So if you're interested, we have go to our forums and you'll see a whole thread for this official Developers Game Jam, where you're going to learn more about it. You're also going to see what the prizes are for ever and after first place. So you can see kind of the runners-up, the finalists, the honorable mentions, what you can get if you fall in any of those categories. And yeah, we'd love to have more judges to help kind of, the more judges you have, the more balanced the results end up being too. We want to have like really objectively looking at what are the coolest games that people make for this Developers Game Jam.
For sure. So, I played through an arcade example, so thinking about an epic creation, so the other category, I can go through and kind of play a quick one. I jumped over to the longer experiences feeds, because I think this is kind of the type of stuff we're looking for, right, for this kind of category. So I can really pick pretty much any of these would work. What's funny is some of these actually have like overlap with the arcade one.
Yeah.
Like Redfall, like with how it's very focused on like there's a score and like that has definitely arcade elements too.
But it could also fit in Epic Creations too.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And then, I think Invasion 2 is like an obvious choice, like that classic side scroller game that's like very arcade-ish, right? With a score and everything like that. Yet it's still a 45-minute game with like 6 levels and a story.
Right.
So
right.
Kind of up to the creator's call there on what they would want to be judged in which category.
Oh, maybe we should show one from here that I don't think we've ever streamed.
Yeah.
SMG Cowboy.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Not sure if we streamed it or not, but I will. Let's play it. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, this is something that I think would definitely fit within Epic Creations. It's funny. It has a cool story. Sends you on different quests. It has level linking too. So level linking will be allowed. Just make sure that if you use level linking, the levels that you link to need to follow all the same kind of rules that your other levels follow to be part of this. Another question that we got in chat and when we get often is, can I use my past work? You cannot use anything that you have previously, worlds you have previously published in Project Spark. That's
specifically the world itself.
Right. Like you've shared it and other people have played it. If you have it and it's unpublished, or if you want to take some elements from published work, that's okay.
Yep.
So even if you had like this idea of something that would be cool and epic that you kind of tinkered around with for a day and then kind of left it behind, you can pick up that project. That is fine as long as you didn't share it out and you're just kind of building on top of that thing that's already been shared.
Or right, like if let's say you shared a tech demo kind of style of game, where it was just showing off like these mechanics you were playing around with. Totally fine to like take these mechanics and build a full game out of them. Yeah. So just don't share your tech demo and be like, this is my entry.
Right.
That's the difference. We don't want exact worlds published.
Or you can even make a sequel to a game that you put out. Just keep in mind that we are going to be having volunteer judges as well as a bunch of Team Dakota judges. So there's going to be an originality score, and it's up to them how they want to score you on originality. So you might be taken down a bit.
So I'm gonna interrupt here real quick. So that would have gotten this guy disqualified.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So we no blood, no gore. There's a whole list of other things that we can't.
No explicit language.
Yeah.
Nothing that would make your game M-rated.
Basically, yep. So nothing sexual in nature or anything like that.
That's really important for us because. So the winner, we're going to add achievements to. That means that game needs to fit within also what Project Spark content is rated. So we do have to really look at ratings. I know it would be wonderful for us to give you complete creativity and free reign of making as mature content as you want. But if we are going to actually make your winning entry an official title that has achievements in Project Spark that we're pointing a bunch of people towards, it has to fit within our ratings. So that just means, don't put a lot of blood in there.
Yeah, or any.
Yes.
Just replace it with alien green blood.
That's true. Okay. Think about Halo. Halo's is rated T.
Well, the new one. Old ones used to be M.
That's true. Yeah, the new one is rated T because there's just not. Things don't have to be bloody.
Yep.
They can be. You can have someone die and confetti burst out of them. That's fine.
Yep. Then as far as like humor, I'd say up to the point of Conker's Big Reunion.
Yeah, look at that. don't go further than Conker's Big Reunion.
We already pushed it there.
we pushed the envelope a lot there. Yeah, we did. We had lots of back and forths there, just to make sure that but so that should give you an idea of sort of what to do, and that is something we will be hard nosed on. We're going to be hard nosed on that. We're going to be really hard nosed on taking other IP or copyrighted materials and putting them in your Project Spark entry. If you have copyrighted things or make a game based on another existing IP, that's going to disqualify you as well. Again, we are going to be publishing this within Project Spark, so it has to legally not be based on another franchise. The exception there is you could make a game with Conker, because we do have Conker assets within Project Spark.
Yep.
So
totally
if you did want to make something in the Conker lore, that's totally fine.
So, question I'm sure people are going to want to know about too is, how about using other people's stuff that they've published, right?
Oh,
so if I go and I think somebody's thing's really cool and I want to incorporate that into my entry, explain that process on how we're approaching that.
Yeah, so if you want to use or take someone else's work and they are not on your team, you're going to need to get their approval basically to use their work. And the only way that we're going to need to know you also got their approval. So we are either basically going to reach out to them, or we're going to look for you to just call out the fact that you've used their work.
Yeah, definitely a credit in the description is definitely necessary.
And you need to reach out to them and make sure it's okay, because we will reach out to these creators if we see you using someone else's work, because if that creator wasn't asked beforehand and they're not kind of getting anything out of it, then it's they could have been part of this awesome team that gets these awesome things. So best thing to do is if you find someone's creation that you think is really cool, you want to use stuff from them, ask them to join your team, and maybe you can have like a cool team together.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, ask if you can use it with their permission.
I highly expect collaborations to be the highest scoring creations in this.
I agree.
So, and like already talking with the Sparkcast and everybody in the community, like collaboration seems going to be the way to go for a lot of people. So
much more so
recommend it.
Much more so in this Game Jam as opposed to any of the other Game Jams, I think.
Especially with the 7 weeks.
Right.
There's time enough to form a team and plan what you're doing and start working on it. It's not as much of a mad dash.
So team up with people, post on the forums, asking for people to team up with you. Send Xbox messages, talk with people here, wherever, and find other people who want to make a game with you. You are much more likely in numbers to make cool stuff.
What happens is when you're collaborating, people, you push each other, and you have different skill sets and different experiences. So, having a discussion over those things is only going to make the end product better.
Yeah, like when Thomas and I were collaborating on the Conqueror's multiplayer arena thing, like that selection screen you made, no way I would have ever been able to make that selection screen.
I'm sure you'd have been able to figure it out. I would have never been able to do the sweet AI.
So I came in and did the AI, but then you made the selection screen, and then you also were able to make all the gun mechanics work really well. But I was able to I basically had on one screen that Halo map that I based it on, and then kind of did all the design there. So we really complemented each other, and I think you're going to find that when you collaborate with other people, like you complement them very well.
Me and you, we should make something for this, and then we can award ourselves the grand prize.
Yeah, we want to get into the industry.
I'm really curious on the behind the scenes tour part.
I know, yeah.
We just go out to a long lunch that day. Ooh, cave. That's right. I have to go find these guys.
So ask other questions. Ask other questions away. There's typically whenever we've launched a game jam, there have been questions, clarifications people wanted. They're probably going to have a lot of those, so we are happy to answer any.
Yep.
A few that we've gotten, which we can go through, are you won't be disqualified for not having controls for keyboard mouse, but that might affect you in the judging process. So keep that in mind. You will be very, very harshly looked on, though, if you don't have any sort of control setup so someone can use it on controller, because these are going to be Xbox One achievements, so people are going to have to play with controller, so we're really going to look for games that allow you to play with controller. And we said the max per team is 8 people.
Yep.
All right, walking through point by point, here are the things that would disqualify your entry. If you share your entry after the final cutoff time, the exact final cutoff time is 9 a.m. Pacific time, December 23rd. Just upload it by December 22nd. Don't try and get it right to the cutoff time. So you have to upload your entry before then.
And be aware too, like we're not like if your internet goes down or something, there's no way for us to anticipate anything like that or correct that. So
right.
That's like a concern, or probably give yourself a couple days buffer if you want to really make sure you get your entry in.
Exactly. You will be disqualified if your entry does not start with DGJ in its title. If it doesn't start with DGJ, we have no way of finding your entry or knowing that it is an entry. So include DGJ in the title of your entry. You'll be disqualified if that exact world has already been published in Project Spark. You'll also be disqualified if you use another creator's work in Project Spark without their consent and credit. You will also be disqualified if your entry includes graphic violence, any sort of violence that would make a game around the M-rated range. You'll also be disqualified if you use explicit language or sexual content that would also make it in the M-rated range. The most important one is you'll be disqualified if we see that you use any copyrighted, trademarked, or previously published materials outside of Project Spark.
And that includes Kinect recordings.
Yes. Audio recordings through Kinect, any sort of UI you bring in, even building a model of R2-D2 inside of Project Spark that's still infringing on IP. So it's cool for you to do that in the community, but for us to actually add achievements onto it and kind of make it a game published through us, then it needs to not have those IP infringements. So those are all the things that disqualify you from entering. So keep away from those things. Let's see.
So it looks like there's a question about the specific scoring criteria.
Oh,
so the different things. So
I
already mentioned one
here.
of them. Yeah, originality.
So yeah, there's five different areas that you'll be scored in, each worth 10 points for a total of 50 points. So you're going to be scored in originality. And so that measures how new and innovative your game is. Now, we're not looking for, every game mechanic has been done, so you're not going to totally reinvent the wheel. We're not expecting that. We're just looking for, with originality, making sure that you're not blatantly ripping off something that's already been created in Project Spark. Or outside of Project Spark. You're not making Fallout 4 in Project Spark.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, right. So, we're with originality, the judges will be looking for, is it new and innovative? Does it already exist in Project Spark? Does it already exist in the industry? Is it a blatant ripoff? Fun score. So, scoring you out of 10 points for just how much fun the judges had while playing the game. So, it will be... make sure your game's fun for people to play. Replay value. So this also comes in handy with both Epic Creations and Arcade Inventions. Replay value, you'll be measured on how playable and replayable the game is. So simply in Epic Creation, if there's something that would make you want to play a game again, whether it's multiple choices
or achievement kind of thing.
Right,
which... Hey, those would be, thinking about what achievements you'd like to have in your game, as well as if you won, what the official achievements would be. That's not a bad, strategy to think about.
Yeah, it's you think about achievements with a lot of games, and a lot of times they'll have achievements for kind of playing through and doing something different, or getting some higher score than you got the first time you went through. So that still makes sense for Epic Creation. So just think through that. Think through some hook you can put in your Epic Creation that would make it replayable. We're not looking for something where something that has Mass Effect-like choices, where you make all these different choices and have all these different endings. Just simply, dialogue options that have different things that you say to people, or like a choice of quests, or different paths you can go down. You can keep it simple to keep it there, but we're looking for things that would make someone want to go back and be like, oh man, I want to play that again. And honestly, if you just make it really, really fun, that's kind of sometimes enough to make it playable again.
Right.
Like, replay value is a lot of times goes
a
hand
good
in hand
example
with fun
was
value.
like Halo campaigns, right? There is no different. You play through the same campaign the
That's
whole
true.
time, but you play through it because the gameplay is so good, and then it's just fun to look at the environments and everything like that. So people play it over and over again.
But they also play it over and over again with like harder difficulty.
Yep.
Or
Exactly. That's
to
a good
try
point.
and
Find skulls and
right,
intels
find like the hidden things.
Yep.
So just collectibles, for instance, throughout your game. That is automatic
All the
replay
Easter
value.
eggs.
Yeah, exactly. All that stuff. Presentation is another thing you'll be scored on. This is measuring how impressive the design, look and feel, UI and game elements are, and how all this stuff looks together. Does it look polished, basically? Does does it look nice? Do people want to play through it? And the last one is polish and completion. This looks at actually how complete the game feels. So does it actually have an end to it? That's kind of an important thing. If your game just kind of has no end, then it gets kind of hard for people to, first for us to know where to put achievements and do stuff with, but also for players to know when to stop. And also, does it have areas that just weren't ever finished? And does it have a lot of bugs? So those are all things that are going to be looked at with that polish completion score. And you can level link together as one entry. So here's how you do it. If you want to use level linking with your submission, all you need to do is the first world you upload, so the one that we would find in the feeds that everything would level link to, include DGJ in the title of that. You don't have to include it in the worlds you level link to. But the worlds you level link to, they can't have been uploaded before the start date of this competition. So basically, if they were uploaded already before November 4th, you can't level link to those worlds. And if they are worlds from someone else who's not on your team, they can't level link to them too. But what we're going to do is actually a great thing to look at is X0, the winner of the first Game Jam, that used level linking, and that just automatically brought you through different tracks. So look at that as an example of how you can use level linking in your entry, but for sure, you can use level linking. All right. Let's see, what other things could we talk about here that we've gotten questions on?
Chat, if you got questions, keep them coming.
Yeah, this is the Q&A session with us. This is the time where you get to hear answers directly from us right away for your questions.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're watching this on YouTube, this is where you get to hear us answer questions that people had right away that you wish you had your questions answered, that we'll probably be answering questions in the comments of the YouTube
Hopefully
thing.
These questions are the same ones that you have.
Yeah, and if not, ask them in the comments on the YouTube video, and we'll
forums
probably
for sure.
be answering
come
them.
to our forums too.
Yeah,
we're answering questions there constantly.
We have a lot of different sticky threads kind of related to this on the forum. So visit the forums. You have one that's kind of our official thread that's all about the developers Game Jam, where people can ask questions. We have a thread where people are teaming up through that thread, so kind of a developers Game Jam team up area. And then we have the State of Spark, where we kind of include developers Game Jam and stuff that's going on in Project Spark this week. Oh, good question in chat. Are Brian and Thomas the devs who we get to talk to for winning? So no, the two of us will not be included in the developers that you talk to if you're winning. Yeah. We thought you guys get to talk to us every day. It'd be pretty
unexciting.
Pretty unexciting if you get to talk to us for another hour. Although we do a lot of talking at you, not to you, but still, yeah. We have really cool developers who you'll actually be talking with. It won't be us two.
Well, we will probably be part of the behind-the-scene tour, though.
Yeah, we probably will, because we have have to kind of set it up and give you access and run all those traps. So we'll probably be part of that one. If I win, will Microsoft give me a job? No, but we will give you a lot of contacts and cool resources to help you kind of find ways to possibly get jobs in the industry more easily. Oh, another question that I got was, all right, I'm not based in the U.S. What does this mean for me? So all the winning entry, the kind of winning prizes, they're specifically done virtually. So you're not going to have to be in the U.S. You can travel directly to our studios. This is all going to be done over Skype and other messaging or video chat services. So whether you are 2 hours south of us and entering, or from Japan and entering, you get the same exact benefit from the prizes.
Yep, we wanted to make sure we could do, the whole international community can participate.
Another question that we got was, so winner gets Rare Replay and Gears of War codes. What if you don't have an Xbox One? So it is true, those codes are only going to be useful for Xbox One. If you have Project Spark only on PC, then either give those codes to friends, family, or hold on to them for if you were to get an Xbox One at some point. So if you're not at all interested if you don't have an Xbox and you're not at all interested in game development and the game industry, then the prize that you might be most interested in is the one that allows you to put achievements in your own world. And if you're not interested in any of that stuff, then maybe you still just want to compete in order to show the community that you're the best. But we've seen most of our community would be interested in one of those prizes usually. Is there a measure for a performance? I need clarification on what that question. Are you talking about, are we going to measure how well your game performs, as in, does it have frame rate drops?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
If the game has lags due to lots of props. So
That'll
that's
definitely impact the score.
That's gonna impact probably across most of the scores. So that'll impact the fun score. That's also going to impact
the
polish,
yeah.
And the completion. So yeah, make sure to test out your game and make sure it runs well. We are going to, this is going to end up being a game that is going to be playable and played by lots and lots of people. So we want to make sure that it performs well for those people. So it's not running at 5 frames per second when they're playing, because that would be not fun for any of them. So already Thomas has been playing for 10-15 minutes here.
I'm not even close. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's talked to a few people, gone to
there was
different
this whole
places.
side thing where I went into 2D side scroller mode and had this weirdness and talked to this old man and all these different side quests. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So
and so
perfect example.
He's only in the starting area, and it already kind of is this 20-minute long experience. So you can take this and make a game out of that, and then make that an entry.
Not this specific creation.
Yeah. Well, if this has already been shared, so this cannot be submitted.
Not to mention, the creator probably would be a little mad.
Yeah. So another great question about performance. Should we use the Xbox One as sort of a reference for how the performance on my game is? And yes. That's what you should be using. So it's great to check how your creation does on Xbox.
if you're that's kind of the benchmark. If we're not going to judge you harshly if it runs good on Xbox, but on an 8-year-old laptop it doesn't run that great, or it doesn't run Spark great in general. That's not going to be the benchmark. I would really think Xbox is going to be your benchmark. Yep.
If you don't have an Xbox, then that's also great to, honestly, you can team up with someone, and even for them just to be a tester. It's great to do that. So if you don't have an Xbox, communicate with the community and find someone in the community who has an Xbox who would kind of want to be your tester. And maybe just, even if they start as your tester, maybe you can find them as someone who could be useful for doing other things for the creation.
And if you guys, maybe not, but if you guys are working on your games and upload them early, and you're looking to get actual feedback before their official entries, that counts. We can do that, right?
Yeah, so you don't have to feel like when you upload your game, that's it.
Yep.
So what we're gonna do is on December 23rd, when everything's been uploaded, we have everything. We're gonna take all of those, all the final entries, and we're gonna take them locally so that it allows you to make updates after the submission deadline, and it won't.
You won't have to worry about getting disqualified.
Right.
That was a problem we had in another game jam.
Right. So you won't have to worry about that, but So we're going to take all the entries, and then that will be, that's when we take them. So if you say, for instance, tomorrow you upload like an empty world with one thing and to pass along to your friend that also includes DGJ in the title, that's fine. No judging is going to happen beforehand, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yep. But yeah, so you can post it and ask for feedback, and people can give feedback, and you can make updates, based on that, and all this before the end submission.
Mm-hmm. So a few best practices, and some people are just joining, and there is a new game jam in town, Developers Game Jam. Check out our forums for more information about everything you need to know about this. Really sweet prizes for anyone interested in more about the gaming industry. So some best practices for people who are thinking about entering. First best practice is try and collaborate with other people. Honestly, you get some great things out of this. We gave you extra time, twice as much time as any of our other past game jams, so you have enough time to kind of coordinate and build teams together. Second thing is the scope of the game you create. Really important to start out. Don't be too ambitious. Don't make something that is going to be, the next Skyrim. Look for starting out in
remember
simple
with Skyrim that was built over 4 years and 100+ people working for over 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So realistically, in 7 weeks, you're not going to build the next Skyrim. As much as that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. So keep your scope smaller of the game you want to make for this Developers Game Jam, and then you can always kind of build out from there. If you actually get to a point where you've accomplished everything you're hoping to accomplish, then you guys can start adding new and more stuff onto it to make it even better. But start kind of smaller and then build out from there. If you start too big, then you're going to probably end up with something that doesn't have much polish, just feels incomplete in areas. Something that is 2 hours long, but it just it feels like a ghost town in those 2 hours. That's what can typically happen a lot. So keep it smaller and then build from there. Another question that we got is, how do you know there has not been more than 8 people working on a creation? So we're going to internally look at that based on sort of the contribution values of people participating. Yep. That's also why it's going to be really important for you to make sure you credit creators who are not on your team, and in general, include in the description of your submission, if you have a team of people, include all the team members in the description so that we know who all the team members are. But we have ways to check to make sure you don't have more than 8 that have actually contributed towards it. The other thing that or other best practice I'd say is focus first on making something that's just fun to play. Focus first on that, something that you just always wanted to play.
And fun doesn't necessarily mean complicated. I think a lot of people get that confused, that they need to make some technical marvel, and it doesn't have to be that. Sometimes the simplest things turn out really well and they're really fun.
Mm-hmm. You look at the winner of the Community Game Jam, which was Furious Little King, which had some really cool stuff behind it, but it was a simple to understand game. You went from left to right and destroyed everything on your path and upgraded your machine and rinse repeat. So go for things that are simple for people to understand from there. And another best practice, which someone brought up in chat, which is so accurate, is focus on what you're best at. This is kind of the time where you can shine on what you're best at in the community, and find people who are good at things that you're not, and collaborate with them. Like, I think one of the coolest pairings I've seen recently is the pairing of community members Zfold and Defco7T.
Oh man, we can't keep doting on them because we like talked about them for like 30 minutes on this Spark.
Oh really? Okay.
So we were like, we love Defco so much. That was like
so it's like it's someone who's great at coding and someone who's great at design. You know, look for someone who's like great at mechanics and you know, just find people who might be not that good at some stuff, but really good at other stuff, and you know, you can complement each other.
Yeah, usually that's usually the biggest two is there's always a really good programmer who doesn't have a like necessarily the best eye for design, and then you have a really great designer who doesn't know how to, you know, program the whole scene out. So you put those two together, and it's really those are like the main two skill sets in the way to break it down that I think most people do. But watch out. I'm at the vampire lair right now. These guys are pretty tough.
Yeah.
I have to kite them through this like tunnel. Come on.
So another recommendation or suggestion: if you're thinking about submitting to Epic Creations, start by playing through. We have a feed in Project Spark called Longer Creations, and this is a feed for games that are longer than 30 minutes.
Yep.
So
that's the feed I just went and found SMG Cowboy in.
Right. So start by playing through there, and really any game that's in there would kind of qualify for this. Of course, they've already been uploaded, so they're disqualified because of that. But you know, look at what they all did, and think about what you could do that is, you know, in vein of what you want to do, or you know, even better than something that you see on there.
Oh, I fully expect like the output from this guy's creation jam, you know, this creation jam from all of you guys is gonna, I think it's gonna really raise the bar.
Yeah. Oh, great question in chat. How do more than one people work on the same map? So the best way to do it is just share back and forth. It's totally okay for you to share something so other people can play before the entry deadline. Again, we're not going to judge anything before the actual deadline of December 23rd. So you can upload a world, name it whatever you want, and then tell the people you collaborate with, all right, the world is called this, go here, find it, and then they can remix it, and then they re-upload it for you. So they, like, you know, say for instance your world is called Pants. So it would be called DGJ Pants, and then your friend takes that, remixes that, and then adds some stuff on it. Then they reshare it as DGJ Pants version 2, and then you take that back and add some stuff on, and then re-upload it, DGJ Pants version 3, and like so on and so forth. You can kind of upload it and share it back and forth that way. If you're on Xbox, you guys can actually start a multiplayer session and create at the same time in there too. Whoa, this guy's got a lot of bombs.
They're like
bomb man.
They're kind of hard to see.
Oh, this is also a good time to plug a really cool community app called SparkShare that someone in the community built.
This is a week from today.
Yeah, if you have Project Spark on PC, you can also use the community app SparkShare to share things back and forth.
And that is actually, if you're going to share, that's probably the most secure way of doing it. Right? Because you actually, when you share something in that app, you can actually password lock it. So only your team members and people access it. Or if you want to share something and have actually get feedback on it through that app, as opposed to share it up on Spark, you can do that too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really cool app to have around for this game and how people use it.
And, you know, like, if you want to share your thing in Project Spark and you don't want a lot of other people to play it beforehand, you know, get ideas, what you can do is you can share it, and, you know, as soon as your friend has remixed it, you can remove that world right away. That's what I helped out the Corey Stuller with Disdain Chapter 5, which he just uploaded this week. I helped him out a bit with that, so we passed that level back and forth, and he didn't want anyone to see it, so he would upload the world, I would quickly grab it, and you know, tell him I grabbed it, he'd take it down, then I would share my version, he'd grab that, and I would take it down, and so that's how we kind of kept other people from finding it or really playing it. Oh.
I think it was just that one area I was just in.
Cool.
I just turned it down even more.
Okay. So there is also
Nicely done, Lantos.
no couch co-op available for Xbox multiplayer. So you can't like you can couch co-op play, but you can't couch co-op create. So no, you won't be able to locally create. But you can join or start an Xbox party and create with people. All right, other questions. Let's see. So I saw some other questions kind of about this adding achievements into your creation. All right, so some clarifying things on kind of exactly how that's going to work, because I think it's like this is one of the coolest. I personally think this is one of the coolest things because Xbox has never put achievements in UGC.
Yeah, I'm
so
pretty stoked.
It's like, some people might not care really much about getting achievements in games, but the achievement hunters love it, and it's like it kind of is the stamp of approval that this is a game in the Xbox platform, even though it's going to be within Project Spark. This is something that has enough weight that it actually has achievements inside of it. What do you call a pile of kittens? A Meowton. That's awesome. So
I just like a sheet of paper that I can't.
Since this is the first time that we have put achievements in UGC, there are things that might change. We might have to make updates to our policy, how we're working with you. So just keep that in mind. You're forging ahead on this new path that we're going down to for the first time with you. So yeah, keep that in mind. But we will kind of take your world. We're going to work directly with you and get the achievements in the places you want. We'll even we can even kind of stream it with you to make sure that it looks like what you were hoping it would look like. And then we will go through the publishing process of actually publishing that game by Team Dakota in Project Spark. You can expect some cool coverage of that too. So we can't we can't guarantee cool media coverage or whatnot, but
yeah,
there should be some cool coverage of it. And if you want to make updates to that world after the fact, you can work with us and we can get these new updates in and republish your world with those achievements and those updates.
I got the boss fight.
Yeah, this is cool. I thought this was really cool, like how different it was.
Yeah, I liked how it is dramatically different from the base game.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole other side scroller area was really neat too. The mayor counter.
Huh.
Oh, name not.
All right. Question from chat: would you recommend games where you punch goblins? If it's really fun and you punch goblins, then you can certainly upload a game where you punch goblins, and that could win the developer's GameJam. But if it's a default game where you make it in 5 minutes and punch goblins,
it's not gonna win.
Probably not.
I don't know what that did. Oh, cool.
Destroyed them all.
Powerful X button press. Oh, okay, by that.
Okay. Other questions. We're getting to about the 1 hour mark.
Really? That was fast. See, SMG Cowboy is a pretty long game. I think I've been on it for like a half hour now. Oh.
So we do anticipate this to be the calling for creators who've been working on something that you might have abandoned and kind of going back and really polishing that for an entry. That's totally something that we
wanted to make sure previous work that was unpublished could be used.
Yeah, because there's some stuff that we know people have been working on for they've worked on before and it looked so cool, and they kind of got bored of it and moved on to something else. So we wanted to make sure that you could take that stuff because there's some stuff that deserves to see the light of day. So this also is a nice incentive if you've created something in the past to get back to that creation and kind of work with that.
Yeah, like I know, like if I could participate, I don't think I'd start totally from scratch. I'd like go find one of my projects that I just played around with and kind of start from there. See if I could turn it into something I'd wanted to, you know, that I would want to use for the game jam.
Let's see. A question not quite related to the game jam, but I'll still answer it because we said we'd answer your questions live. So a question about unlocking the towns and enemies section in the biome area. So that is something that we won't be actually adding. We used to have a coming soon tag on those things, and now we just grade them out. So those aren't things that you can actually unlock.
Yep.
They were things that were planned at one point, but you know how they were coming together. They didn't seem to be too useful to you. So
in reality, we need to try to update it so they just don't appear.
That's true. Yeah, just completely remove them.
Yeah.
So you know we were going to develop kind of enemy biome and
they ended up getting really
biome.
replaced by assemblies.
Basically, yes. It would have been assemblies, but you know, weirdly placed.
Yep. There's a lot of mayors.
I know. Mayor. Oh,
Super. Am I at the final?
Oh, nice. Health of Death. Whoa. Yeah, this is awesome.
Oh yeah, because I have to shoot him now. This gets quite difficult. So it goes toward him. I don't have to aim. I pretty much just have to hold this shoot down and not get hit by anything, which is pretty hard to do. Thankfully, I don't think I have a life counter or anything in this.
Something else that I've seen a few people kind of joke about or comment on, you know, saying like, "Oh man, if this creator joins, you know, how can I win?" Every game jam, it's always been a really interesting creator that we didn't expect to come in first place and win. There, for instance, with the very first game jam, we expected, you know, the thing that looked coolest ended up being a finalist. The thing that looked coolest to us was Remembrance by Ninichu, but you know, out of nowhere, this X0 entry by Arisil Demal and ST Abra was uploaded, and we were blown away by that. We couldn't believe that. So they kind of came out of nowhere. And you know, these were developers, or these were creators who hadn't made huge stuff before this. With the community game jam, winner of that was Holy Light Rider, who only beforehand had made Eve's Story, which is great. But you know, they kind of really stole the show with Furious Little King.
They did.
And then the 10x40 game creation jam. The winner of that was Find the Forest by Zglaug. Zglaug was a new person to the community and just had this great idea of this game where you find a forest. But it's like it was presented so like visually and cool.
Not to mention like the type of restrictions that we put onto it and like how they were able to keep it under 40 profs is amazing.
And they won.
Yep.
So don't be intimidated by the fact that, you know, there's probably going to be a lot of creators.
I bet that whoever wins this maybe won't even be a name like we know right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that is true. Like you could be brand new to this community, you could win this game jam for sure.
Yeah,
in fact, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see some of our veteran creators be like challenged.
Toasted by a new guy coming in and be like, "Oh, you guys said don't try to make Skyrim.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I made a game that's as big as Skyrim."
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings us right to the hour mark. And look at that. We spent like 40 minutes playing that.
And I wasn't like, I mean, I didn't try to go super fast through or anything, but I think I like did an average playthrough session of it. Like, didn't go too slow, didn't go too fast.
So if you really did want to enter the kind of epic creations that floats your boat more, but you're pretty intimidated about making something 20 minutes long, it's honestly, you have the time to do cool stuff and make it long enough and make it meaty enough. All right, one last question that's not related to the Game Jam, but somewhat related because it'll go into something else. So we have active development of new content packs has stopped in Project Spark. With our next title update, we will have some new content coming out with that. So our next title update 17, we're expecting to come out some point this month. Yes, it will happen.
Probably toward the end, if it does happen.
It will happen in the middle of the Game Jam. We always have an update coming out in the middle of the Game Jam. But we're not touching tiles or code really at all with this update. This update is more on just content bug fixes. And these are content bug fixes that are not going to break any creations. The only thing is we will be changing, making it easier for you to use color, to code with color for sci-fi props. So if you're using a lot of coding with color on sci-fi props, then it might be changed slightly with the update, but it's not going to break anything. Yeah. It'll just be the colors show up differently.
And this list of changes we are planning to put out to the public soon, so as you're working on these projects, you can be aware if you are touching any of these areas that could get impacted.
We actually have kind of the starter list. Today we post that in the State of Spark. We'll just keep you updated on other stuff that we will include in there, but we're not touching any of the code, so we are not going to have the update's not going to be anything that changes the physics or bumps or sensors or any code tiles. It's not going to touch any of that, so you don't have to worry about that. But it will include some new props. We have I think 5 props in there. We're going to have a new visual filter called Invert, which is basically inverted color scheme.
It's pretty crazy.
Everything. Yeah, it's really trippy. It's like if you ever use Invert on like your little camera, it's like it looks like that. And it will include some new icons, including some controller maps. People have been asking for controller map icons for a while, so that'll be nice. We'll have 2 versions of those.
The controller. It's the same controller that appears on our controller map.
Yeah, so our controller map in game, it'll be that, but there will be one version with all these points leading out from it, and then you can kind of set text to go with each of those points, and one without the points, so you can kind of choose how you want your controller map to look like.
Yeah, here, I'll even pull it up.
All right, so
that controller.
Yes, so basically without the text or the background, but it's the controller and the points branching off it, and one without the points branching off of it.
Yep.
So, all right, that'll do it for us. Hopefully that was too informative for you about the developers game jam, because that was our plan, to be too informative in this stream. So now you have all of the tools and most of, if not all, the answers to be able to make a really cool entry, team up with people, and do some cool stuff. If you have more questions, go to our forums. We are there, the community is there, and people are looking for others to join them.
Yep, right now is a good time to start forming teams.
Yep. And while Thomas says hi there, we say bye here. All right, see you later, guys. We'll be back tomorrow playing some of your creations.
Bye, guys.
Create your game as you play? Any Spark can do it. Spark, activate the portals.